The concept of profiling, coupled with other surveillance and control systems, will make it easy for faithful Seventh-day Adventists to be tracked and eventually hunted down. A friend of mine recently said to me, "Yeah, but this all can't happen very fast. It will take a while." Well, how long did it take America to react to the spectacular terrorist attacks? In 1 year's time, dramatic changes have occurred in America and the free Western world, which have opened the way for the oppression of God's people. The terrorist attacks were obviously a humanly orchestrated event. It is easy to point the finger. But what happens when natural disasters of gigantic magnitude wreak devastation on the cities of the earth by earthquakes, hurricanes, huge tornadoes, and so forth? To whom then do you point the finger? Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson pointed the finger. They said that the reason for the terrorist attacks was the tolerance of homosexuals, the purveyors of pornography, and the abortionists. There was a media outcry against this supposedly illogical conclusion, and these men withdrew their statement. In actuality, even though they didn't see the whole picture, Falwell and Robinson had identified a biblical principle. Righteousness exalteth a nation, says Proverbs 14:34. And when the nation separates itself from righteousness, the angels of God withdraw their protection. So, when there is one successive natural disaster after another, who then is going to get the blame? "We've got to get America back to God," will be the cry. And the conclusion will be that there are a few people that are preventing it from happening. They're not going along with the new Sunday law, and they're jeopardizing national security. We've got to freeze their assets. We've got to prevent them from doing what they're doing. How easy will it be for SDA church leaders to distance themselves from anything that might be considered extreme? Hasn't it already happened in the past? All it takes is fear. It can happen almost overnight, as did the national changes after the terrorist attacks. Many wonder how the September 11 attacks fit into the prophetic role of the papacy. The greatest terrorist organization in history is the Church of Rome. How were the Waldenses, Huguenots, and other religious dissenters treated by the Roman popes? It was nothing short of terrorism, and Satan is planning it again. While the Pope is apologizing for the atrocities that the sons of the Church committed, it is apparently only political rhetoric. Rome is now courting Islam. Consider the Pope's May 2001 visit to one of Islam's holiest sites, the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, Syria. Here he worshipped and led in Christian prayers, while his Muslim counterpart led in Muslim prayers. The Pope, however, has never repudiated the dogma that justified the Inquisition, the Crusades, and the extermination of heretics and infidels. And there is still intolerance whenever Rome can get away with it. Half a world away from Damascus, Protestant evangelicals are persecuted in Mexico by their Catholic neighbors. Even the term religious intolerance is being redefined. It no longer refers to the intolerance of Rome. In this age of ecumenism, it now refers to anyone who speaks the truth about apostate churches, including Rome. The new intolerance is labeled bigotry or religious extremism and is as bad as the terrorists. God has told us in His Word that the papacy causes all, both great and small, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Revelation 13, verse 17. Do you think we are getting close to that time? The September 11 attacks created the environment for a giant step forward in the fulfillment of prophecy. But future terrorist attacks will make the controls, surveillance, and restrictions even more compelling, while Satan does a parallel maneuver to isolate and restrict God's people. How soon will these new global systems be expanded from their original purpose and be used to oppress God's remnant people? No one can really say. But once America is used to the new system and people are familiar with how it works, it will be an easy transition to start using it on the United States citizens accused of other religious crimes. The future is ominous. Satan is going through very large and expensive maneuvers just so he can control and oppress a small group of God's true people. He is building a global economic, police, and justice system just for God's faithful people. He's pretty serious. As you contemplate the news in the future, pay attention to the underlying principles behind it. Realize that there are unseen agencies with an agenda that is beneath the surface. However, prophecy enables us to understand the long-range purpose of God. We can foresee those things that tell us that the end is near. God is bigger than all of Satan's devices. He can and will protect his people according to his purpose. The last year of national and global events are a serious warning to God's people. Now is the time to get ready. Now is the time to move to the country. Now is the time to win souls, for the night is coming when no man can work. Never has there been a more important time to plead with God for his Holy Spirit to give you power to overcome sin and represent him fully in character. Never has there been a more opportune time to seek righteousness and perfect love that casts out all fear and brings the peace that only God's Holy Spirit can place in your heart. Now is the time to obey God's instruction to move to the country. September 11 dramatically changed the liberty environment in America and the world. We must rethink our priorities and invest our resources in soul-winning work. Let us humble ourselves before God